Hello humans, it's just Martine and welcome to the start of another weekly reading vlog. It is the second and last week of Wonderthon. This will not be my last Wonderthon vlog, probably, because I'll probably split this into a week and a weekend based on how much I've been reading for this readathon, but this is the last week. And it's off to an interesting and weird start because Ephesus hit Rhodes twice with cantaloupe-sized victories, which kind of makes me think that Ephesus is going to pull into first place, which hurts real bad, but that's okay, that's okay, that's okay. Everything's fine. Glad they didn't hit us twice with cantaloupe-sized victories. They hit us once yesterday with a watermelon-sized victory, which really hurt. But it's also got me thinking, because after we hit a certain threshold of wonder points, Lizzie gave each of us a secret new wonder that we could borrow for the rest of the readathon. My team got access to a military advantage that we will not use because peace love pyramids. But I don't know what the other teams have, and I've been trying to guess it. And based on the fact that yesterday, Rhodes was a mango-sized victory away, like below Ephesus in military points. And this morning, they were a cantaloupe-sized victory away, that they've turned their attention to other points, which leads me to think that they got an advantage on other types of points, because they're not using their civics advantage. I know that for a fact. So they either got my science advantage or they got Bailey's religion advantage. I think they probably got mine, which but hopefully this will be a wake-up call for them, these two victories, and they'll switch back to the military. Not that I can really use my science advantage right now because there's a whole heckin' lot of space in military between my team and Ephesus, and we can't keep taking watermelon-sized hits. We just can't. Things are crazy around here, and I'm actually getting some work done this morning. Instead of reading, I haven't read a single page yet today, but hopefully we'll get to some reading eventually, and I'll bring you along with me when I do. Another watermelon-sized hit. We're just trying to peace love pyramid it up here. We lost like 18 points, which is so many points. Especially since to lower the gap and get hurt less next time, we can only focus on military. And for each military, we only get like a third of a point. Yowie. And now, since Rhodes is getting bigger and bigger hits, they're not there to take any points from Ephesus. So I think Ephesus is just gonna go crazy. And I get it. That's the game. But owie. I just finished P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han, which is the second book in the To All the Boys I Loved Before trilogy. And I'm giving it 4.5 stars. I gave the first book 5 stars. It's been a while since I've read it. I've seen all the movies. And I just have to say, once again, how good the movies are. They capture the spirit of the books so well, and there are differences, and those differences I really like. Like, I think they made them even better in the movies, but just the feeling of them is the same. And this one hurts, just like the second movie hurts a lot. In fact, both the second and third movies hurt a lot, and so I'm worried about the third book, which hopefully I'll read soon. I just checked out the audiobook, so hopefully I'll get to that during this readathon. But it's so good. I care so much about the characters. I do have to say, Peter Kavinsky continues to be less charming in the books than in the movies. I mean, it's not fair to the character of Peter Kavinsky because Noah Centineo did such a good job in the movies, but he's just too bro-y. The feeling is there. If you didn't know, this series is about a girl named Laura Jean who writes letters to all the boys she's loved before, and she keeps them for herself, and one day her sister Kitty, in an act of revenge, sends them to all the boys, and things kind of go from there. Yeah, this series is so good. It's so fun, and I truly believe so true to how people actually feel at the age of the characters. Some people think it reads too young. I think it reads just right. I think oftentimes characters are written older than they actually are supposed to be, or to represent a certain type of teen, and Laura Jean is a different type of teen, but one that fully exists. And I love her so much, and I love Kitty so much. This has made me want to watch the Netflix show about Kitty so much. Like, I'm holding myself back so that I can finish this readathon first, but I want to so bad, and I want to rewatch the movies. They're so good. And I do have to say, John Ambrose McLaren makes his appearance in this book, and he has blonde hair and all this stuff. But I just have to say, the choice that they made to cast Jordan Fisher in the movie, so much better. I liked him so much better that way. So yeah, but I love this book. Ayo! Just finished reading a graphic novel that I started last night called Scout is Not a Band Kid, and I gave it 3 stars. It's about a girl who joins band because they have an out-of-town trip and her favorite author will be at the location that they're going, and so she really wants to meet her, so she joins band, but she has never actually played an instrument, and so she kind of lies about that, and she ends up in the trombone section with one other person, and the other person is really serious about music and very annoyed with her. So things kind of go from there, and it was a pretty fun time, but nothing like crazy special to me. So yeah, more science points. Hello, it's a little bit later and I just sat and read 12th Grade Night. I really had a lot of fun with this. I laughed out loud at a couple points, and I almost never do that with graphic novels. I really loved the art style. I just loved staring at all the characters, to be honest with you. They were so interesting, and it gave me all the twin feels because the main character of this, Vi, is starting in a new school, but her twin brother stayed at their old school, and that's a boarding school, and so they're not living together for the first time. And also there's a bunch of like really messy love, not even triangle, but like pentagon things happening in this, and it's just so silly and fun. I really liked it. So the only unfortunate thing is that since there were no page numbers like on the actual pages, I felt like I couldn't stop. I had to read it straight through because I was tracking it on Bookly, but unless I had like sat there and counted the pages, there would have been no way to know what page I was on. So that was a bit annoying, but it was a pretty quick read, so that doesn't matter too much. And I had so much fun with it. I loved the art style, like loved it. Vi's hair also reminded me of mine at some points, which was really fun. Pretty sure we're actually the twins here. Also, total side note, but I haven't actually read 12th Night before. It's not one of the Shakespeares that I've gotten to, but this made me really want to. Just a thought. Hey yo, happy Tuesday. I have 2 books to talk to you about that I finished last night. The first, I listened to the audiobook The Smartest Kid in the Universe, which is a middle grade about this kid who eats these jelly beans that are accidentally like knowledge enhancers, and he becomes the smartest kid in the universe. But there's also like a treasure hunt aspect, which was a little weird. Anyway, I gave it 2.5 stars. It was kind of fun, but not really my jam. Whatever. And then I finished With or Without You, which was so good. I'm giving it 4 stars, and it's this book about this gay teen who lives in this really awful town, and he and his best friend have been like beat up their entire lives, and they're seniors in high school, to leave this place and go to school in Chicago, when all of a sudden, a couple months before they're supposed to leave, his friend gets involved in this really weird group of people, and things kind of go from there. And I learned lots of interesting things from this book, alarming things. I really had an interesting time reading this. It's hard to say you have a good time reading a book that actually made you really concerned and sad, but if the experience of reading a book that makes you feel things is a good experience, which I think it is, then I had a good experience reading it, if that makes sense. But definitely look up trigger warnings in this. Lots of discussions of HIV and AIDS in particular. It was a pretty quick read, so I appreciate that. And it's a Stonewall honor book, so looky there. But my library barcode is right in front of that, which is a little rude, but whatever. Yay! And I used both of those for science points. And I love my team so much. I woke up this morning at like 5 a.m. with a nightmare that we had gotten hit with a pumpkin-sized damage, and that hasn't happened yet, but I'm sure it will. And so I said that, and one of my teammates said, okay, if that happens, we'll make pumpkin pie and have a feast. And I love it. We're not gonna bow to Ephesus and play their military game. We're just gonna have fun with our little science-y books and have a good time reading what we're reading. So, yay! Okay, so a little update. What we thought was coming was in fact coming, because last night at the points update, we were in second place by 1 point above Rhodes. So I was like, okay, now Rhodes is going to get us. But Rhodes thought that Ephesus was going to attack us, which of course we also thought, because we were less than 10 points away from them too. So Ephesus hit us twice and Rhodes hit us once, and since we've stopped playing their game and stopped getting military points, they were big damages and we're now in the negative. But hopefully the good coming out of that is that, one, Ephesus learned that people can in fact be in the negative, and they're the only team that didn't know that. They're the only team that has now at this point not been in the negatives ever for this game. Two, they actually feel really bad about it, and my guess is they're gonna leave us alone for a little while to try and recover, so now we can just focus on our science points. I'm chill, so I made my team a funny playlist called In the Negative but Feeling Positive, and it just has really funny songs in it, including Shake It Off and Misery and all of these fun songs, so we're fine. And there's really no point in trying to catch up to them in military, because with the sizes of damage that we took in each of those battles, we're not even close to them in military points. It would take so many books, so just, we're not even gonna. I would say back to reading, but I actually have to edit a video, so I'm gonna do that and then I'll get back to reading. Hello and good morning. It's Wednesday morning. Yeah, it's Wednesday morning, me never knowing what day of the week it is. And I have 3 books to talk to you about. I would have talked to you about them earlier today if the fire alarm in the parking garage next door hadn't been going off, but you know, whatever. And then I have some team strategy discussion to talk to you about. So quickly, let's go through these. All of these I read for science points. First, I read The Talk, which is a graphic novel largely about the talk that Black parents have to give their children about interacting with the world at large, and especially the police. It was very sad, obviously, and very well done, and by a Pulitzer Prize winning, I think, political cartoonist. Is that what Darren Bell is? I could be so wrong. I'm giving it a 3.5. I understand that large parts of it were trying to be like snapshots into moments that then culminated in this later moment in it, but the flow just didn't really work for me. I don't know, it just didn't, my brain didn't like it as much as I wanted to, but I loved like the intention behind it, and I think it's a really important graphic novel, and I think a lot of people will love it more than me, people who love graphic novels for sure. And then I read Once Upon an Eid, which is a middle grade collection of short stories all about different characters and their families and traditions that they're dealing with around Eid, which is a huge Muslim holiday, and it was so fun and so joyous, and I just loved it, and I loved the cultural insights from all of these Muslim authors from all over the world, so that was a really great time. I gave it 4 stars, but I definitely think it's one of those things that every kid should read growing up. Like, it was great. I think I'm just hitting that point in the readathon where I'm reading so many books that it's just going to take a lot to get more than a 4-star for me, and I didn't have as emotional of a connection as I wanted to have to some of the characters to make it a 5-star. I find that short story collections almost never make it past that threshold, which makes sense. You don't really get long enough with a character to feel that way about them, so yeah, but 4 stars still incredible. And then this morning I finished listening to the audiobook The Art of the Con, which is all about like art forgeries and stuff. I'm giving it 3 stars. It was interesting, but I had a really hard time paying attention to it or caring. I just really quickly grabbed it from the library because I saw con, to be honest, and I didn't even read the subtitle. So I went in not even fully knowing that it was just about art, and I am not a huge visual art person, so yeah, but more points for my team. And now for the fun part. So as you know, the other day we got beat down pretty bad, and we're still not looking good. We're currently at 5 points, so at least we're in the positive. That was a huge win of last night, is that we did not end the day in the negative. But we really don't want to get hit again before our time is up. So my proposal to the team, and people seem to be feeling good about it, is that we work our way through several reads at once, and instead of focusing on how many books we can finish every day, we focus on getting through books but not to the end of them, because you're supposed to submit your books for this, and it's only fair as soon as you finish them. So we're just not going to finish books. We'll submit a few here and there so that everybody doesn't get really suspicious of us, but the final points update is tomorrow night at 8 p.m. and we want to look like the least threatening team possible during that time. So after that points update, we'll go through and finish books and read quick ones and get back up there. We still might not even break 3rd place. It all depends. I have no idea how the other teams are faring right now, but we're gonna try the best that we can. The hope is that people don't get frisky last minute and just decide to attack everyone anyway. So yeah, we'll see. We will see. Okay, we're ready.
I cannot confirm or deny. We are ready. We are going. In fourth place is Giza with 22.1 points. First place is Rhodes with 129.8 points.
I'm shocked.
Good morning, happy Friday. I'm actually going to start a new vlog today and make it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, weekend vlog, but I finished some books last night, so I need to tell you about those. So there are 2 books to tell you about, both of which I gave 3.5 stars. First is How My Summer Went Up in Flames, which is actually by an author that I've read from before. I didn't really like the first book I read from this author. I purchased this one before I read that one, but I liked this one better, and this was her debut, so that's of note. This is a really common, I would say, YA summer contemporary. It's about this girl. I guess this part is not normal, but this girl, her boyfriend cheats on her, so they break up. She makes a couple bad decisions and ends up being given a temporary restraining order by him, and so she goes on this road trip with these other guys to stay out of trouble and basically not feel tempted to go and like break her restraining order. But other than that, it's like a basic road trip summary book, and it was fun. So 3.5 stars, and I used it for science points. And then I finished There's Nothing More to Tell by Karen M. McManus, which I think is her latest, which is about this cold case from this really fancy school where 3 students found a teacher dead in the woods. And it also does have a podcast element. There is no podcasting on page, as it were, but one of the characters works at a true crime podcast for a while. Yeah, and like I said, it was pretty fun. I gave it 3.5. I don't think it was maybe my favorite Karen M. McManus, but also probably not my least favorite by her, and I used that for science points. And the plan is going well so far. Nobody's attacked Babylon yet, so I'm kind of waiting for that, but we've jumped almost 20 points since the update last night, so I'm very pleased with that. And on that note, I'm going to end this vlog here and get back to reading. So if you liked it, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and comment down below what's an author who's like never a 5-star author for you, but that you read from pretty often, and subscribe for more reading, writing, and college lifestyle content. And until next time, bye humans, bye!